Okay, welcome back to the Quiet Signal. I am your signal master. Thanks for joining us for another video. Let's cut through the noise and listen to the Quiet Signal. Today we're discussing Fidelio. Fidelio is the only opera written by Ludwig van Beethoven, and it occupies a strange, important, and often misunderstood place in the operatic canon. Canon. It is less about romance and spectacle than about moral courage and political tyranny. Makes it feel almost like a philosophical or revolutionary manifesto set to music. Basic facts about it. Of course, its composer, Ludwig van Beethoven. And I'm not talking about the dog today, folks. Its premiere was in 1805 Vienna, and then it was heavily revised in 1806, and the final version was finished in 1814. Of course, it's German, of course, and it's referred to as a rescue opera. It's set in a Spanish prison near Seville in the late 18th century. Beethoven struggled with the opera for nearly a decade, and rewrote it, like we covered multiple times, because he was never fully satisfied with how the drama, politics, and music all aligned. Jumping into the plot summary, spoiler alert, Act 1, we follow a woman named Leonore, I think. Excuse me, I'm not a very smart guy, and I'm not good at pronouncing things. I've been really discovering with myself, so forgive me there. But she disguises herself as a young man. Real Mulan energy. But she disguises herself as a young man, and she goes under the name Fidelio. And she goes to work in a prison, as her husband, Florestan, has been secretly imprisoned there for exposing political corruption. Real, oh shoot. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. What's wrong with me? I love this guy too. Oh my gosh, Julian Assange. It's a real Julian Assange situation, right? The prison is run by Pizarro. Not Bizarro, not the, mentally enfeebled Superman, but might as well be, right? Pizarro, a cruel governor who wants Florestan dead to prevent his crimes from being revealed. Leonore, dressed as Fidelio, gains the trust of the jailer Rocco, and begins searching for her husband. Meanwhile, Rocco's daughter, Marzeline, falls in love with Fidelio. Oh my gosh. And then this creates a love triangle. Dude, women really just want men to be women, don't they? Marzeline loves Fidelio. Fidelio avoids her, and Marzeline's suitor, Gioacchino, becomes jealous. Oh boy. A little classic, a little triangle of sadness action, right? Another great movie. Cool, so we've got this love triangle set up in this political Julian Assange situation with a little bit of Mulan action going on, right? Leonore is pretending to be Fidelio. She's in a prison looking for her husband, and the prison is run by Pizarro, who's a bad guy, and he wants Florestan dead because his crimes will be revealed otherwise. And Leonore, as Fidelio, is gaining the trust of one of the jailers, Rocco, and Rocco's daughter is falling in love with Leonore, and this is pissing off Gioacchino. All right, are we keeping up? I barely am, so if you're not, I understand. Florestan is revealed in a dungeon, half dead, starving, chained, and hallucinating. The guy's messed up. He's in a bad way. It's not going well for him. Very Julian Assange. He sings one of the most famous songs in the opera, which is all about him envisioning Leonore as an angel who will come to save him. But Pizarro arrives to the prison in order to murder Florestan personally. But at the last second, Leonore steps in, and she reveals her identity and points a gun at Pizarro, declaring, kill first his wife. That's the emotional climax of the opera. A triumph sounds signaling the arrival of a government minister who has come to inspect the prison. This allows Pizarro to become exposed. He's exposed. Florenstein is freed and justice is restored. And then the opera ends with a massive choral celebration of freedom, marital devotion, and moral righteousness. So the core themes are: Pizarro represents arbitrary power, secret imprisonment, political repression, and fear of exposure. Real Nazi, fascist energy, right? And then Florenstein represents enlightenment, ideas, moral truth, conscience, and political martyrdom. Leonore represents active resistance, courage, and self-sacrifice, as well as loyalty. And the opera is deeply shaped by the French Revolution, Enlightenment philosophy, and Beethoven's own admiration for liberty. Leonore does not pine or swoon. She infiltrates a prison under a false identity and threatens a tyrant with a gun. Her love is practical, brave, risk-taking, and strategic. Beethoven presents love as a moral force, not an emotional indulgence. Freedom is sacred. Freedom in Fidelio is not just political, it's spiritual. The prisoner's chorus, where inmates briefly step into the sunlight, is one of the most famous moments in the opera. With "Oh, what joy to breathe freely in the open air." There are 4 different overtures for Fidelio. The first 3 being in Leonore's name, and then Fidelio's overture, which is the final. The third overture is often considered a masterpiece on its own, and it summarizes the entire drama musically. The vocal writing is thought of as being demanding, often instrumental in style, and not always singable in the traditional Italian sense. The things that are unusual about Fidelio is that it's not escapist. Usually operas offer like fantasy, romance, or melodrama, but Fidelio is a moral drama. So it's what it wants you to think about, like power, injustice, fear, loyalty, sacrifice. It's asking something of you as opposed to like just purely entertaining you. It's not goon material, I guess. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not 50 Shades of Grey like operas usually are. It's not this romantic nonsense, melodrama, fantasy. It's moral, right? The villain is not subtle in any ways. Pizarro is just pure tyranny. There's no tragic backstory or nuance. He's just a clear and complete villain, which was intentional. Beethoven wanted a symbolic villain, not a psychological like project. It's not character study. And the ending of the play or the opera is idealistic. Usually tyrants don't get exposed at the very last second, you know? So it's an ethical myth and not fully realistic or focused on realism. Beethoven had a philosophy that music should uplift humanity. You know what I mean? Probably wouldn't have been a big fan of like, you know, WAP or whatever else Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj are singing about, you know? Or whatever else these hooligans are singing about, rapping about. And then people believe that this Fidelio is the clearest expression of his belief in that music should be an uplifting force, not degenerate, nasty, disgusting, stinky one. Don't get me wrong, I haven't listened to classical music like in years. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's 1 or 2 songs on my playlist. You know. Oh, by the way, in the Discord, I think we should get music recs going. I think I have a pretty good taste in music that maybe you'd find interesting as well. So check out the Discord and maybe toss some music in there. Show me some of those gems, those diamonds in the rough, those hidden things that normally you would gatekeep, but just for you and me and everyone else in the Discord. Okay. Criticisms of the opera. Dramatically awkward, structurally uneven, too didactic, emotionally stiff. Which is fine. Beethoven wasn't, looking to be a dramatist. It's all about moral architecture, so it's all good. Fidelio is all about, whistleblowers, political prisoners, torture, disappeared people, authoritarianism, resistance, and truth. So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty good stuff. That's a quick brief overview on Fidelio. Thank you for watching, listening, etc. We'll probably dig into this deeper later on, because there's kind of a point that I'm talking about the things I'm talking about. I'm slowly but surely building up towards something. So, thank you, and good night.